Hey, Dad, this is Kent Evans at the Father on Purpose podcast with a special announcement. So forgive the interruption of our normal weekly drops because I want to tell you about a brand new thing we're doing at Manhood Journey and Father on Purpose that you may want to jump into. We're launching Fatherhood Cohorts. These are experiences, small group experiences led on Zoom by amazingly skilled facilitators that you may want to learn more about. If you're the itchy type and you just want to go right now, turn off this podcast and go to manhoodjourney.org/cohorts. That's COHORTS, cohorts. Go to manhoodjourney.org/cohorts, and you can learn everything you want to know, when they start, who's leading them, how much they cost, etc. You can learn all that right now at manhoodjourney.org/cohorts. But if you're the kind of dad who would like to know a bit more about why we're doing them and what will be involved, keep listening. Manhood Journey has been around now for almost 15 years, and we've had thousands and thousands of dads. In fact, frankly, almost 1.4 million dads have come to our website, and tens of thousands have joined our email list. What that means is these guys communicate with us. I get emails from guys all the time from all around the world who tell me what they need, what they ask, what they want. And a lot of these guys, and maybe you're one of them, are looking for deeper fatherhood learning, they're looking for coaching, and they're looking for deeper community. So we've been looking for the last year or two at the idea of launching cohorts. These are small groups. This will be like a Zoom call with a max of 15 people for 8 weeks. They will go through some of our content. But here's what I want you to know about these cohorts. 2 big things. Number one of the big reasons you may want to consider joining them is because you're going to be with 14 other dads who are banging out this thing called life in the Christian world like you, and they're going to be able to trade notes, encourage one another, pray for each other, and learn together. Secondly, they're going to be led by 2 guys who are expert, amazing facilitators. One guy is named Craig Bowler. Craig is a guy who's been a pastor. He's a dad. He's a friend. And he's been on our show before. He's been on the Father on Purpose podcast. We'll provide a link to that episode. Craig's an amazing guy who is a stellar Bible student and coach and pastor. You're going to love being in Craig's cohorts if Craig's time slots fit your schedule. If Craig's don't fit your schedule, you're going to love this guy named John McCallan. I call him Johnny Mac. He was the former youth pastor at our church. He has 3 daughters, and he is one of my personal closest and best friends. These guys are both biblically trained. They are life experienced. These are guys who are in the process of and have raised kids themselves and are godly, flawed, imperfect, vulnerable, honest dads who will help coach you through your cohort. So here's what you're considering doing if you jump into and you apply for these cohorts. Now, why did I say the word apply? We suspect we're going to have more dads want to jump into these cohorts than we have slots to fill. So keeping the small group experience small is critical to this. And we launched just this morning, we launched our email letting guys know about this. And we've already had 2 guys sign up, neither of which live in America. One lives in Uganda, one lives in the United Kingdom. So all I can conclude from that is A, the demand is going to be fairly high. And B, evidently to sign up for these, you must live in a place that starts with the letter U. Okay, so if you're from Utah, hurry up and apply now. Just kidding. But we did have a couple guys already apply. And the way we're going to handle that is first come, first serve. So if we have 500 people who want to join these cohorts, and we might, we'll put everybody on a waiting list. First 60 will get into these 4 slots. You may be confused by the math. Go to manhoodjourney.org/cohorts to understand what I'm saying, because what we're offering is 4 different slots for you to dump into based on your schedule. So we could manage time zones and both Craig and John's availability. But let me get back to the why. I have been in the fatherhood business for 25 plus years as a dad myself. I have been in a fatherhood nonprofit now for almost 15 years. And there is a couple things I've observed about most dads, and you may be a dad who looks just like this. Number one, you recognize fatherhood is difficult. It's challenging. It's hard. It challenges all kinds of parts of your brain and your life you never thought would be challenged. Secondly, you may have, because of raising kids, it's a occupational hazard. You may have gotten more and more isolated over the last 2 or 5 or 10 or 15 years as a dad yourself, and you find yourself on like Fatherhood Island, and you don't have other dads to bounce ideas off of. So we're going to try to solve for that on these Zooms. Highly confidential, highly vulnerable, highly open discussion format. The spring 2025 cohorts will go through what we call survival gear, 7 must-have tools every dad needs for his journey. So you're going to go through one of our ebooks with a skilled facilitator, either Craig or John, you pick. And as you get to the end of this cohort, here's what I hope is true about you. Number 1, you made some friends along the way. Number 2, you dove into God's word and learned something important and helpful for your fatherhood journey. And number 3, you will give us some feedback. These are brand new opportunities for dads. We've never done this before. And we hope that as you get through these courses, you get to the end of your 8-week stint, you will give us some feedback about how we can make this better for the future dads who may dive into these cohorts. They do have a nominal cost. That's $99. They do have a nominal cost to offset some of our expenses in putting them on. Just so you know, they're not free. There will be a small cost, but you don't pay that when you apply. You only pay that if you get selected to be part of this initial flight. So let me summarize. Fatherhood cohorts are starting in spring of 2025. We have very limited capacity. You can learn everything you want to know about them at manhoodjourney.org/cohorts. And then you can decide if you want to apply to be part of the initial cohorts that launch this spring. But if you do want to, I would encourage you, go ahead and jump in. By the time this podcast comes out, the opportunity will have been live for several days. And we want to make sure that as a podcast listener, you get a chance to jump into the first flight of guys who are going to be part of the cohort if you want to be part of it. So run over to manhoodjourney.org/cohorts, learn everything you want to know, and then decide if you want to jump in and be part of our initial cohort launch in the spring of 2025. And either way, I hope you will dial in to our very next podcast episode coming out soon. God bless you on your manhood journey.